I think this is actually the first video where I'm wearing the B-side shirt for the B-side. What's up, guys? Welcome to the B-side for November 2018. This is a meaty one. Lots of good stuff to show you. Also a giveaway. It's going to be a great video. Stick around to find out what albums I liked, maybe didn't like as much, and that I got in this month. This was a killer month for album releases. I'm going to tell you everything I like this month, starting with Paak's Oxnard. Now, I'm a huge fan of Paak. I think he's an absolutely brilliant drummer, great MC, great singer. Everything about him just oozes talent. And his past two albums, Venice and Malibu, were near perfect R&B hip-hop albums. Now, Oxnard wasn't as good as those two. I'll say right off the bat, it didn't wow me just like in a way that those albums did. However, I will say that this album has a great vibe all the way through. That Madlib production really shines, and it's a good album to take as a whole. Individually, there weren't as many highs song to song as the past two releases, but I will say it is an excellent addition to Paak's catalog. I'm waiting on the signed red vinyl from his web store, so fingers crossed that comes in soon. I'll probably post that on my Instagram, so if you're not following me on there, make sure you are TooManyRecords_. And then the album that really surprised me this month, I had no idea about it till someone told me I had to listen to it, and I was like, alright, I guess, but I'm glad I did. J.I.D. Dicaprio 2. J.I.D. had an album, I think it's called The Never Story or something like that, and it came out maybe a year or two ago, and people were saying it was great. I think I heard one track and was like, it's pretty good, but never really gave it a shot. Dicaprio 2 is not only one of the best albums I heard this month, it is one of the best albums I heard this whole year. I read an article that compared the way J.I.D. flows to Uma Thurman in Kill Bill slicing down the Crazy 88, and I thought that was a really dope way to describe someone rapping, and you know what? After listening to the album, it's accurate. This is an immaculate hip-hop album, from production to the bars to his flow. Everything is just top-notch. I can't even believe how good it is for a newcomer like him. His voice falls somewhere between Paak and Kendrick Lamar, and his flow is otherworldly. He can go on for a song and just not stop. It's like, where does he take his breath? I don't even know how this guy is so talented, but he is on my radar now, and this album, like I said, has definitely pierced my top 10 of the year. I don't know quite where it lands, but I'm gonna listen to it a lot more, and we'll find out. But J.I.D. Dicaprio 2. I got the vinyl release in for Lil Peep, Come Over When You're Sober, Part 1 and Part 2. So Part 1 came out before Peep passed away. Part 2 is a posthumous release, and they did a really nice gatefold. Part 1 comes on beautiful pink vinyl, which I think Peep would have appreciated quite a bit. And Part 2, for some reason, is just on black. I don't know why they wouldn't do something colored for that as well, but I don't know. Regardless, Lil Peep, he died way too young from an overdose, and he is an amazing musician. I got to see him live. I couldn't fully appreciate him when I saw him live because it was my introduction to him, but I was just amazed at his energy on stage and the fans that were just singing every word. I mean, this is an artist from a generation that's below mine. I don't quite fit into the Peep demographic of his fan base because this is kind of like the generation maybe 10 years younger than me. This was their icon. And I read an article that compared him to Kurt Cobain only in the sense that when he died, this was the first musical death of someone that was important to the generation that kind of shocked them and opened their eyes to the possibility of, life being finite. And Peep was a pioneer of emo rap, so he's fusing kind of emo sounds and emo thoughts and lyrics with hip-hop, trap beats, etc., etc. But he did it better than pretty much everyone else. I will say that I really like Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. Part 2, it feels a little overproduced. It's always weird to hear stuff posthumously because you never know if it's what the artist would have wanted, but it's a great album as well. There are some really good standout tracks on there, and I think as a whole, this is a really nice, cohesive piece of material to leave as his legacy. So if you don't know Lil Peep, check him out. And then we have the unexpected release by The Good, The Bad, and The Queen, Merrie Land. I opted for the green vinyl variant of this because it matched the text block on the cover really nicely. Really cool shade of green. If you happen to miss my A-side, this is actually a supergroup of sorts featuring members of The Clash, The Verve, Damon Albarn of Blur, Gorillaz fame, and Tony Allen, an amazing African drummer. So the four of them have put out one album in the past, the self-titled Good, the Bad, and the Queen, and this is the first follow-up in a very long time, and I gotta say, I didn't know what to expect, and it really blew me away. Individually, much like the Paak album I referenced, it didn't really do a lot for me piece by piece, but taken as a whole, this has such an intriguing mood to the album. It has this almost morose, kind of meandering thought process that's it's unsure of itself. It's kind of guarded and mysterious, and it's like the album shrouded in mist. This is actually the best cover for it. This describes the sound shockingly well. And Damon Albarn is in rare form. I haven't liked a lot of the stuff he's put out on any project for the past couple of years, and this is him right back to where I like him with songwriting brilliance. I think this group is a surefire win, and I hope to get to see them when they tour for this, because I never got to see them for the first album. So this is a great release, and I recommend giving it a full listen before judging it. I also will say that I noticed some parallels between the National songwriting and this songwriting, and that's probably a big part as to why I like it. And last but not least, Kanye West Yandhi did not come out. I guess I could have seen this coming. He decided after the Kids See Ghosts performance at Camp Flog Gnaw, which I was lucky enough to see, that the album was not finished yet. I don't know if it was just embarrassment from him missing about 50% of his own lyrics on his own verses, which as a Kanye fan was a little cringeworthy. Regardless, he's probably in Yandhi mode. That would explain why he wasn't exactly on for that show, even though Cudi was. And I'm hoping Yandhi comes out in the next couple months, but who knows? At this point, Kanye's release schedule is a complete mystery. I'm just looking forward to new music whenever we can get it. I'm going to do a little label love real quick. I've talked a lot about I Am 8-Bit before, and that's because they are one of my favorite labels doing video game vinyl releases. I picked up 2 releases that I wanted to show you, and I decided I'm going to give one of them away to you. So the first release I want to show you is the Shadow of the Colossus original soundtrack. Now, this was a PS2 game that had a sprawling journey where you're basically this guy on a horse and you're fighting these massive beasts that are bigger than any boss from any game you ever played before. Some of these fights would take like 45 minutes to an hour because they were like puzzles. You had to figure out how to attack them, how to climb on them, how to beat them, what their patterns were. And these are colossi. They're huge. And the soundtrack for this is as epic as the game's scope is. Kao Otani is an amazing composer, and every minute of this represents the peacefulness of wandering mixed with the tense nature of the fights. Everything about this soundtrack is excellent, and I really like this spot gloss on the front. That's a nice little touch. There's spot gloss on the inside too, and this is a really nice giant fold out showcasing some of the beautiful art from this release. Just really nice all around. If you're a fan of this game, this couldn't have been done in a nicer way. And of course, it's colored vinyl, or should I say lack thereof. It's a nice murky clear, as well as a blue. Haven't played this game in a long time, but I always remembered how good the soundtrack was, and I wanted to pick it up, and I don't regret it at all. Some days you just want to kind of do some work in your room, but then have this epic adventure soundtrack. So this is my go-to for the next quiet day I have to kind of elevate the mood of my day. And the record I want to show you next is actually the one I'm going to be giving away to one of you lucky people. Open worldwide. This is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This is a recent release for the Switch, and yes, this is genuinely a fuzzy textured mustache on the front. So this game I haven't actually played. I love the Mario games, but the offshoot games I don't often jump into. But when I found out the composer of this, I had to listen to the soundtrack, and I was not disappointed. Grant Kirkhope is the guy who made this soundtrack. He is the guy who made some of the best game soundtracks of all time, including my favorite, Banjo-Kazooie. And he also did GoldenEye. Very different than Banjo-Kazooie, but both equally excellent from the N64 era. I will say that this soundtrack lives on its own in a very whimsical, beautiful way. It's kind of half Banjo-Kazooie and half Banjo-Kazooie, half Peter and the Wolf. It's cute, it's playful, and look at this just amazing gatefold showcasing this classic Mario world. This is just a beautiful release. If you want to play with your release, it comes with these punch-outs to make your own paper dolls. I probably won't do that, but it's still cool for those that would. And this is on a clear record as well. This is ultra clear, actually. You can see my face through it, which is why you know it's ultra clear. And as mentioned, I'm going to give it away to one of you. So if you go to the description, I will explain how to enter the contest. It's super easy. Basically, just follow me on stuff and leave a comment based on what I ask you to leave. So good luck, and I'm excited to see who wins. Kids see ghosts sometimes. Kids see ghosts sometimes. Kids see ghosts sometimes. Spirit. Chris is looking at me like I'm a psycho. Finally got my Kids See Ghosts record in. Love this art. This is still one of my favorite pieces of album art I've ever seen in my life. And I was a little worried about the sound quality based on how Ye was a little underwhelming, but this actually, to me, sounds way better than digital that I was listening to. This is probably my album of the year. We'll see at the end of the year, but I don't foresee anything topping it. It's short, but sweet. It doesn't waste a minute, feels longer than it is. If you haven't heard Kids See Ghosts yet, it is Kanye and Kid Cudi's collab album, and I highly recommend picking up the record. It's super cheap. It's like 15 bucks. Just grab it. If you guys follow my Instagram, you'll know that I recently picked up a grail, a massive holy grail. So I'm just gonna show it off real quick. This is Nathaniel Merriweather presents Lovage, or music to make love to your old lady by. This is a collaboration between Mike Patton from Faith No More and Mr. Bungle and like everything that exists musically, and Jennifer Charles from Elysian Fields. She has one of the most sultry, beautiful voices I've ever heard, and Patton is an absolute genius. They are brought together by legendary Dan the Automator, who is one of the best producers ever. So the trifecta of them have come up with Lovage, which is a trip-hoppy, kind of dark, brooding, sexy journey through what is some of the most unique music I've ever heard, and probably one of the best albums I've ever heard. This is an incredibly difficult album to find because the samples are mostly uncleared from what I know, and that's why it has not had a reissue yet. Goes for usually over $200. I got it for a lot less than that, but not significantly less. More than I'm proud to admit, but less than I paid for Ghost of the Great Highway before the repress. If you guys follow the channel, you know what I paid for that. I don't want to talk about it. Finally own it. Listened to it last night. It's probably VG+, a little bit of noise here and there, but it sounds great on wax, and I'm really happy to finally have this grail in my collection. If you don't know this album, do yourself a favor and listen to it. I told you this episode was meaty. I told you there was some good stuff in here, and that's because Nujabes Metaphorical Music has finally come in. From Hideout Productions, talked about Nujabes ad nauseum, and I'll say it again. Japanese hip-hop producer, fused jazz and hip-hop, passed away in a car accident way too young. Considered to be one of the best producers of all time, up there with J Dilla, Kanye, all of the best producers. And unfortunately, he left us with only 3 albums, none of which were on vinyl until this year. Metaphorical Music is finally on vinyl, and they couldn't have done it in a better way. First of all, super thick cardstock jacket with a nice big spine. You can read it from across the room. It has a gatefold. Inside the gatefold is beautiful watercolor and notes and lining, and I guess it's not really his signature, but it was, you know, his signature printed on there. And the discs themselves, 2, I think 180-gram discs, both sound flawless. No sonic issues whatsoever. They did this release so much justice, and I'm really hoping that they do the other 2 albums in this glorious fashion. That would make me just so happy. This is one of my favorite albums ever, and I'm just very, very happy to own it on vinyl now. And I hope most of you tipped off from my Patreon or Instagram message where I talked about this going up for pre-order. Hopefully all of you had a chance to grab it. Then real quick, to round this episode off, we have 2 box sets I'm going to show you real quick. I'm not going to go too in-depth on these, but this is the incredible Rick and Morty box set, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive edition. Now, this box lights up, which is super cool. I have no idea if it's picking up on camera, but it has a cool light up feature. Looks better in the dark. And when you open it up, there's just a ton of goodness. They have a die cut sleeve holding the inner sleeves, and of course, if you guys know Rick and Morty, the art is just fantastic, and the art throughout this box set is just trippy and terrifying and almost vaporwavy in this one. But the limited variants that was for, the art doesn't stop. Even the inner sleeves have amazing art. Like, if you're a fan of the show, you need to own this box set. I'm a huge fan of the show. The limited version for San Diego Comic-Con is a portal color with gold specks on the inside, so it looks incredibly nice. One of the coolest looking records I own, I would say, just because I've never seen this color combination together. And all the music from the show ranges from really good, shockingly, to really funny. So it's comedic, it actually has some musical merit to it, and it doesn't just come with that. Also comes with a pretty big poster, comes with the 7-inch, and like a Rick patch, and all kinds of cool stuff. There's also a weird Morty sticker. This is a really solid box set. The light up stuff is ridiculous and over the top, but I love it, and I'm really glad I was able to snag the Comic-Con exclusive version. So if you were a Rick and Morty fan, hopefully you had a chance to pick up the regular box set or the normal pressing of it, which just comes in a standard jacket. But I think the jacket might have some sort of die cut feature too. So for Rick and Morty fans, we've got a lot of good stuff here. And then finally, the last box that I'm going to show you, and not show you too in depth because there's too much in there, too much good stuff to show you. I just want to say I am so happy with this purchase. This is probably my favorite vinyl related box set, if not vinyl related thing that I own in my whole collection. As you guys know, I have a big collection, so that's kind of a big statement, but this is the Super Deluxe Chris Cornell box set. It comes with CDs, DVDs, posters, lithographs, a vinyl cleaning cloth, which was kind of cool. I guess I didn't expect something like that. 7 discs of Chris Cornell vinyl, each one kind of chronologically going through his career from the early days to the very last stuff he recorded before he passed away. and every disc sounds amazing. Every disc had songs on there I never heard before, some really beautiful covers, some stuff with Cat Stevens, he had a redemption song with his daughter. I didn't know he covered A Day in the Life by the Beatles. There's so many great things in here, and if you're a Chris Cornell fan, you owe it to yourself to pay it. If you're a Chris Cornell fan, you owe it to yourself to buy this box set. It is just stunning, and it's the best tribute to his life I can think of. There's also a really nice hardbound book in there featuring essays from people like Tom Morello, Brendan O'Brien, Mike McCready, all these people that worked with him throughout his career, the guys from Soundgarden. It's just, they tell stories about him that I never heard before, and it really helps shine a light on how amazing of a person he was and what a talent he was, and what a shame it is that we lost him. So I have more Chris Cornell stuff in my room now to listen to that'll keep me busy for a lifetime, and I can't recommend this box set enough. There's too much good stuff in here to go over in this video. Maybe I'll just do a whole video on it one day. We'll see. And that is it for the November B-side. Guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you picked up this month, what you heard that I missed out on that I should listen to. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. It'll be in the description, everything you need to know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. More videos soon.